Hello, hello, and welcome everybody to the opening of the Power to the People conference. So nice that you're all here. Thank you for coming and enjoy the evening.
Hallo, auch von mir. Ja, danke Kiwi. Kiwi ist auch Teil des Orga-Teams, genauso wie ich und noch ein paar andere, die sich gleich vorstellen werden. Warum ich gerade auf Deutsch rede, es gibt Dolmetschung, das heißt, alle, die noch keine Kopfhörer drin haben und gerne von Englisch auf Deutsch gedolmetscht haben möchten, bitte an den Eingängen, Mena hier unten, kann sie vorbeibringen, genau, also bitte nochmal melden. So again, welcome everyone. I'm Max. This is Kiwi. We are part of the organizing team and many others. We're going to introduce ourselves in a bit. We just want to give two minutes of introduction, how this all came about, why we are here. This, is the starting point of the Power to the People Conference. Und noch eine Sache soll ich zur Dolmetschung sagen. Es gibt dort oben einen On-Knopf. Den könnt ihr den Riegel rüberschieben, dann solltet ihr auch die Übersetzung auf dem Ohr haben. So, I want to continue. So, thanks a lot everyone that you're here. The Power to the People conference is starting. We announced to spark alternatives, and that's what we want to do the next days. On our website, our slogan is, we want to finally bring the energy infrastructure as well as decisions about it into the hand of the many. And that's the motto for the next couple of days at the Power to the People conference and during the European Gas Conference. We are here because a couple of groups and organizations started a process of thinking about what we can do, not only to protest, but also organize formats of discussions, of exchange, and spaces to connect before the actual European Gas Conference and the lobby event begins. So we started in November, December to sit together with a couple of organizations, people organized in NGOs, self-organized political groups from the different movements. And we were overwhelmed by the interest. And I can just quickly say who's actually behind it. It's Attack Austria, it's Rise Up for Rojava, it's the Plattform Radikale Linke, and the organization, the group Zwangsräumungen verhindern, just that you know. So what's happening this weekend? We have workshops, panel discussions, all around the topics: climate justice, energy crisis, neo-colonial energy politics, as well as the cost of living crisis, inflation, and militarization and war. We start today after the very nice, we call it Polylog. Frankie is going to introduce a little bit later what's happening. We're going to have also a very nice concert by Core. So please stay here. There will be a little break with food in between. And tomorrow morning we start at 9:30. It's going to be here, and we're going to talk about socialization, collectivization, and commoning. Then after this, there are different formats at different places. Hannes from the Orga team is introducing a bit later how the whole format in this decentralized way is going to work. And most of it will happen around the Ippenplatz. It's a public space in the 16th district, not too far from here. So tomorrow we start, as I said, with a panel discussion. There will be a lot of different formats, and we want to kind of finish the day with two major panel discussions tomorrow night. One is about feminist struggles in Kurdistan, Iran, and Afghanistan in Brunn Passage at 6 p.m., as well as a parallel session on strategies to fight corporate fossil power. On Sunday, we are very excited about another super interesting panel discussion that's it's going to be organized by Don't Gas Africa and the Black Earth Collective. It's going to be here at 10 a.m. in this room. So make sure you wake up early enough to join this. Again, it will be followed by a lot of different workshops and panel discussions. And at night, we're going to have a closing panel here at 6 p.m. Again. And a very nice movie screening of Spring is Coming and The Loud Spring. You can see some posters already here. So I think that's it from my side. how do we communicate the next days? We've set up a Telegram channel, so everyone please join it. I guess we're going to mention it a few times more, so there will be updates, news all around the conference. And yeah, that's it from my side. And I hand over to Hannes about the infrastructure.
Max already told you about our decentralized concept, and you can see it in a minute or in a second. And when we started this process with this conference, organizing this conference, we were thinking about how to do it, and for us it was quite clear from the beginning that we don't want to do it only in a big lecture hall, only in some kind of building university where we enter in the morning and then go out at night. It would have been easier logistically for sure, because then you have one place, you have everything there. But we did something different. We were thinking in the organization crew about where do we want to be present also with our messages, with our message power to the people. And so we've chosen this place which is quite known to those people living in Vienna. It's Ippenplatz. And we started to go around Ippenplatz more or less and asking people there, asking cafes, asking artists or other places we know or we even didn't know yet if we can organize some kind of events there. And in the end, we now have about 4 places where from tomorrow on sessions will take place. And you see it, we are here now at the campus of the University of Vienna. And in about 20 to 25 minutes walking distance, there's the Ippenplatz. You will find an info point there tomorrow, as well as an info point here, as you just saw already. And then here nearby, you have all these places where some workshops, sessions, event will happen. You find all these informations in the program, but we are always around to help you out if you don't find ways and so on. The info point also have a phone number. If you get lost, you will find it also on the website. And of course, you don't have to walk there. There's also public transport, for example, the tram line 44 and 43. They start right there. Maybe you can show it on the map, or I can show it. And 43 brings you to Alserstraße. Maybe you can show it as well. And then further to Jörgerstraße, you can reach places like Café Max, or also the Herrenals SJ Büro. And with the line number 44, you get close to Ippenplatz. And there's also line number 33, which brings you close to Kunsttankstelle and Galerie. But as I said, please ask us and we will help you, or just check it online. And yeah, so that's the concept. As I said already, it makes things a little bit more complicated. We know some of you are not familiar with Vienna, but we thought maybe it's nice for you also to get to know at least this neighborhood and not going, as I said, into a building and back out again. And we hope that we, for example, through our presence on Ippenplatz, can also find other people to talk to and invite them even spontaneously to lectures. So feel free when you're around the city, meeting people, invite them to the lectures. They're very welcomed. And there will also be, I think this is also a highlight, we don't only have lectures in these places, we also have 2 city walks around this district, and it takes place on, I'm looking to my friends, Saturday and Sunday, I think. And yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We hope weather stays not like this, but sun comes out again. And yeah, then we meet in one or the other place. And online on our website, you will find also the information where we will have our lunch and dinner during these days. Basically, it's also around these places. And that's more or less it. To concrete information, some of you already had some drinks from our info point. If you finish them, please bring back the bottles to us. if possible, would be really great. And the other thing is that, as we already announced in our emails and on the website, we have a lot of expenses. We also have some funding, but still we would also really ask you if it's possible to contribute to this conference, so you can always pay your fee or give us your donation at the info point for the conference, and also for food and drinks. If it's possible, we ask you to help us to cover the costs.
I will say some words due to awareness. We understand awareness as a collective practice and also as a shared responsibility to stand up against discrimination. So I hope that you all help us to support this and to stand up against discrimination. We have an awareness team during the whole conference day, so from now on until Sunday evening. You can recognize them from like red t-shirts, maybe, yeah, so it's like this, but red, thank you. And also with a colored loop on the upper arm. Thanks. We also have awareness rooms, which we can provide if needed. And there is an awareness number, which you can reach on these hours where we need it, where we have the conference. You can see it there, and just reach out to us if there is anything or if there is any discriminational behavior. Yes, you can find all the informations on our homepage. There you can also find the whole awareness concept for the conference days. And you will also find the number there, also on social media. Yes, I think that's it. Thank you.
Hello, also from my side. So now again, why are we here? We are the counter summit to the European Gas Conference taking place next week, and we want to think and discuss democratic alternatives to our current profit-driven energy system. This is why we demand the following things. First, a responsible, just, and democratic energy system that prioritizes the needs of people instead of corporate profits, and that the voices of workers and society are heard and are the driving force for EU policies and in new energy projects. We insist on a local, renewable, and just energy system in Europe and beyond. And that no new gas projects within and outside of Europe are implemented, and that no hydrogen will be imported. Furthermore, we demand a complete shutdown of the existing gas infrastructures and the redistribution of the energy industry's profits. Finally, we demand a complete debt cancellation for countries of the Global South, as well as just reparations and the financing of climate justice. But how can we achieve our demands? In a democratic and participatory way. In every workshop in the following days, we will discuss alternatives and strategies to overcome our current system. We ask you, everyone who's participating, to collect the outcomes of your discussions in a living document that will be circulated via the Telegram channel you've already seen. At the Energy Roundtable on Sunday, starting at 4, at the Club International, we will cluster all the outcomes. Come by and participate in the process. We will present the final results on Sunday in the closing plenary. The outcomes we will present there are only the beginning for further discussions and organizing in the coming months. We are looking forward to great ideas and inspiring conversations. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. So yeah, enough talking from us. Now I can hand over to Frankie, who is facilitating the great polylogue, as we call it tonight. And yeah, Frankie is also speaker of the BlockGas coalition. And yeah, we try to make a good connection to the following action days, of course, also. So yeah.
Okay, is this working? I don't know.
No?
Okay, then maybe
Yeah.
Okay, is it? Okay, great. We're trying this out for the first time. I'm happy it's working. My name is Frankie. I'm from the BlockGas Alliance, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to see so many people. Yes, we have a few people here who will give their insights into the perspectives that they are bringing to the conference. But first, I'm going to tell you a bit about the BlockGas Alliance. The BlockGas Alliance formed around the idea of bringing groups together all over Europe that bring different perspectives and join the fights of the house cost of living crisis, the fight against the exploitation, and the fight for climate justice. And we want to draw attention to neo-colonial and capitalist structures so that the damage that they are causing cannot be ignored anymore. And we collected the different perspectives, and we are going to bring them to the streets. I hope you have heard of it, but there are going to be action days following the conference, so keep a lookout for that. And if you want further information, you can check out our website at blockgas.org. Yes, that's it. Yes, we can change that. I'm fine. Is this good? Okay. Yes, that's it for me. A bit further about the structure. We're going to hear input from each person that is sitting here, and then I will tell you a bit about where you can find them during the conference, what workshops they are giving. We do not have the time today for a lot of discussion or for questions. So if you have questions and want to know more about the topic, you can join their further panels that they have during the conference or check out their websites. I will name them. And we will start with Lorraine Chiponda. She is part of the African Climate Movement of Movements and Don't Gas Africa. And I'm really glad you can hear, and I will pass you the mic.
Thank you very much. So as an African activist, I would want to start with a chant. Like that is how, in most cases, we start our meeting. But I'm going to adopt a chant from South Africa and acknowledging also the other African activists who are here with me. So when I say Amandla, you say Awetu. So maybe we can start an exercise. May you please say Awetu. Awetu. Exactly. So my African colleagues, please help me. Amandla. Amandla. Thank you very much. It means the power is ours. Power belongs to the people. So thank you for that. So the Don't Gas Africa is a collective campaign or a gas movement which represents multiple voices of resistance across Africa of people that are pushing back on the dash for gas in Africa. So, to make it clear, Africa has always had gas reserves, and 40% of the recently discovered gas reserves are from Africa. But however, it was not a major threat because Africa did not have the finance, the technology, the capacity to explore the gas in Africa. So it laid there. Of course, we had pockets of gas projects in Africa, but it was not majorly a huge threat. However, the energy and cost of living crisis pushed by the invasion of Ukraine resulted in a dash for gas in Africa by corporations, by governments from Europe, right? And we've seen our own African leaders auctioning pieces of land to companies from Europe, to governments in Europe. We have seen countries such as Tanzania, Senegal, Morocco, Egypt, all now speaking about gas and investing in gas in Africa. And some of the countries I would like to highlight that have resulted in this dash for gas include Germany, they include Italy, including France and many other companies from Europe that have pushed for the dash for gas in Africa. And the dash for gas in Africa is very much short-sighted. And the Europe Gas Conference, if I should say, is a representation of systems of oppression that have affected African people. And the issue of energy colonialism or energy extraction in Africa has got a nasty taste in African people's mouths because of the origins of that. We all know that extractivism in Africa and extraction of energy came about as a result of colonization. And now we're seeing a repetition of the same colonial tendencies whereby global powers, global finance, capital infrastructure is still coming to Africa to exploit Africa. And the dash for gas in Africa represents or means for African people loss of land, loss of livelihood alternatives. Much of the gas projects are happening in areas where we have people accessing their livelihoods, such as the fishermen in Senegal who have been displaced by the BP, such as in South Africa again, where fishermen are again displaced. So that is what the dash for gas means for Africa. And the dash for gas in Africa is not meant to feed the energy poverty in Africa, whereby 600 million people in Africa are living in energy poverty. All of the gas, all the pipelines are leading out of Africa, which means that it's, again, energy exclusion, energy apartheid, right? So, again, for us, the issue of gas in Africa is not a question for Africa's development. It's not an issue to remedy energy poverty, right? But it is an issue which is, again, representing multiple systems of oppression in Africa. So, again, the Power to the People conference, to us, it represents us taking back our power. It represents us challenging systems of oppression, global finance architecture, global powers, political elites that want to perpetuate systems of oppression in Africa. The Power to the People conference represents and energizes us to take back our power from corporations, to take back our power from all systems of oppression, because we believe that the power lies with us. And I want to just... And just to end on this note that as African civil society groups, as African communities, as African people, we are here to challenge the Europe Gas Conference. We want to build an alternative future for Africa, and also even to disrupt the current energy systems as they exist. Because when you talk about a transition away from fossil fuels, we're not just talking about moving away from fossil fuels to renewable energy. It's not as simple as that for African people. When you talk about a transition, we're talking about revamping, turning the tables, changing the systems as they exist, as they are. And these systems include changing the global finance infrastructure. I'm happy that my colleague here mentioned the issue of climate debt, the issue of climate reparations. Africa right now is sitting at the front lines of a climate crisis. Year in, year out, we've seen an intensification of climate disasters. We have all heard maybe about Cyclone Hedy, which has affected Mozambique. Zimbabwe has also been affected, and now Malawi, where hundreds of people are dying because of Cyclone Hedy, and infrastructure has been devastated and affected, all because corporations want to make a little bit of profit, right? And it should be obscene that corporations, at a time where we have a global health crisis that we're just coming out of, whereby we're having a global climate crisis, health crisis, and we see corporations making profits. During such times, we should be challenging and questioning that. So I end by saying, don't gas Africa. Gas is not for Africa. It's not for anywhere else in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. If you want to hear more about this and about the perspective that Lorraine is bringing to the conference and that Don't Gas Africa is bringing to the conference, so tomorrow at 11:30, it has been said, there's a sorry, I forgot the word. There will be a presentation, there will be a panel on gas in Africa, where are we now? And also on Sunday at 10, they will be joined by Black Earth Collective and give an input about Europe's neo-colonial gas grab, not here, not anywhere. And if you want further information about Don't Gas Africa, they have a website and Insta and Twitter, so do check that out. And now we're going to hear from Elif Kaya from the Jineolojî Center, and I will pass the mic.
Okay. Öncelikle merhaba, hepinizi selamlıyorum. Gerçekten burada bulunmuş olmaktan da mutluyum. Sayımızın bu kadar çoğalmasından mutluyum aslında. Dünyanın her yerinde kapitalizme, tekelciliğe, şirketleşmeye karşı her yaştan, her gruptan bu tepkinin gelmiş olmasından mutluluk duydum.
First of all, also hello from my side. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm especially happy to see so many people and that our crowd gained such a large size. Knowing that there's people from different parts of the world and from all sorts of different movements against capitalism makes me very happy.
Şimdi gaz şirketlerinden bahsediyoruz ama aslında kapitalizmin, kolonyalizm aslında bir bütün olarak bizi böyle şeye mahkum eden, yalnızlığa mahkum eden, böyle çaresizliğe mahkum eden sistemin kaynağında onlar var. Bu anlamıyla aslında belki benim sunumum da biraz bunun üzerinden olacak. Çünkü Orta Doğu bildiğiniz gibi enerji kaynaklarından dolayı, petrolden dolayı yıllardır savaş alanı, savaşın bitmediği ve sürekli çatışmaların yaşandığı bir bölge ve bu bölgeden ben bir çözüm modelinin üzerinde durmak istiyorum.
Now we are talking here about the gas companies, but in fact we need to talk about capitalism as a whole, because as you know, these topics are not separate from each other. Especially coming from Kurdistan, from a region in the Middle East, which also has a lot of natural resources, and which, as you know, is prone to wars since many centuries. I know how these issues are intersected, and maybe my presentation can offer to bring together some of the systems of oppression and the systems that we're facing here. Also, I want to present the model that we developed and offer a solution for you as well.
Kürdistan ülkesinden ne zaman haberdar oldunuz bilmiyorum ama Kürdistan'da sömürgeciliğin tarihi çok eski. Son 100 yıl özellikle 4 parçaya bölünen bir ülke, hatta sömürgeci bile diyemeyeceğimiz, sömürgenin sömürgesi konumunda olan bir ülke. Ülkemizin ismini bile tarif edemediğimiz, tanımlayamadığımız yasaklarla karşı karşıya kaldık.
So I don't know when you first heard of Kurdistan, of the existence of this place and these people. We are a place that has been faced oppression ever since. In fact, even that our name, that our culture, that our language and existence of us was denied and neglected means that we are not facing oppression, we are even below oppression.
Kürdistan 1924 yılında Lozan'da yapılan anlaşmayla 4 ülkenin sömürgesine verildi. Türkiye, Irak, Suriye ve İran. Ve ondan sonraki süreç açısından da kendi ismini kullanamayan, kendi varlığı yok sayılan, uluslararası anlaşmalarda kabul görmeyen bir statüsüne mahkum edildi.
Kurdistan faces oppression since more than 100 years. Then the Lausanne Treaty divided the region, the people, the culture up into 4 countries: Iraq, Iran, Syria, and Turkey. Ever since, we didn't find a place, we were not allowed to speak our languages, to live our cultures, and we were not finding any representation amongst the international community.
2014'ten sonra herkes Rojava'yı tanıdı. Neden tanıdı? Çünkü Rojava'da bir mücadele gelişti. Şimdi Rojava aslında bir yön ismidir. Yani Batı'yı ifade eder. Batı demektir. Kürdistan öyle bir konumdaydı ki biz kendi ülkemizin ismini bile kullanamadığımız için onu yönlerle tarif etmek durumunda kalıyorduk. Kuzey, batı, güney, işte Rojava dediğimiz doğu tarzında.
Now, since 2014, Rojava has been in the ears of many. Rojava, what does it mean? As we were not having names for our countries, we even were just explaining them by the directions north, east, south, and west. Rojava means the west.
Şimdi bunları niye bahsediyorum? Kuşkusuz şu an burada bir gaz konferansı yapılıyor, gaz şirketlerine karşı. Bunu şunun için söylüyorum. Aslında Kürt halkı bir bütün olarak statüsüz bırakılan, varlığı kabul edilmeyen bir durumdan kendi gücünü, yani kendisinden çalınan gücü yeniden alıp kendi gücünü oluşturan, kendi gücüne kavuşan bir model oluşturdu. Ben biraz bu modeli anlatmak için biraz bu konulara değinme ihtiyacı duydum.
Now, why do I share all of this right now, where we come together to tackle the conference of the gas companies? The fact that Kurdish people could not be represented led to us also developing a way and developing a strategy how to regain power that was taken to us, how to take the power back to the people. And that's what I want to talk to you about.
Bu model nedir? Bu model demokratik konfederalizmdir. Yani halktan çalınan gücün tekrar halkın kazanabileceği modeli Kürt halkı 50 yıla varan mücadelesiyle birlikte bunu bu tarzı tanımladı. Halkın yeniden kendi gücünü kazanmasının modeli demokratik konfederalizm.
The name of the model that we developed is Democratic Confederalism. It's a model that was developed along in the way of the battles of the Kurdish people, of the battles of the Kurdish freedom movement, and throughout the years was developed as a model which allows and encourages and empowers people to take back the power that was stolen from them.
Aslında sömürgecilik sadece topraklarımızı işgal etmedi. Aynı zamanda bedenlerimizi, zihinlerimizi de işgal etti. Bunun için demokratik konfederalizm süreci, aslında bu mücadele daha doğrusu 40 yıllık, 50 yıllık mücadele, öncelikle emperyalizmin ne olduğunu, sömürgeciliğin ne olduğu, sömürgeciliğin yarattığı kişiliğin ne olduğunu mücadeleyle deneyimleyerek, analiz ederek aşmak üzerinden bir çalışma yürüttü, bir mücadele yürüttü.
Because oppression is not only happening in our bodies and on our lands, it's also happening in our minds. Democratic confederalism developed methods to understand what is the consequences of imperialism. What does imperialism means, and which sort of personalities does it bring about? Which sort of mentalities bring about? So we also have methods to fight on these aspects.
Kürdistan'da fiziki soykırım politikalarına paralel olarak asimilasyon politikaları da uygulandı. Bu politikalar çok ağır tahribatlar yarattı. Halkın gücünü aslında, halkın kendi kökleriyle bağını koparan, halkın gücünü kendisinden alan politikaların başında bu asimilasyon politikaları geliyor. Fiziki kırımlarla birlikte asimilasyon politikaları da uygulandı.
The oppression that Kurdish people faced was not only massacres, murderers, and wars. It was also assimilation through cutting the boundaries that people have to what gives them strength and through cutting boundaries of the roots of society.
Halkın geleneksel yani halk biraz da geleneksel örgütlenmelerinden de olsa gücünü alıyordu. Bu örgütlenmeler dağıtıldı. Kendine ait değerleri değersiz kılındı, itibarsızlaştırıldı, geriymiş gibi tabir edildi. Ve bir anlamda asimilasyon politikasının yaratmak istediği şey insanların olduğu gibi değil de farklı biriymiş gibi sömürgeciliğe benzeyen insan tipleri oluşturmaya çalıştı.
Even though their values might have been conservative, when people organized in traditional ways, they had a way of organizing that gave them power, that empowered them. And throughout continuous assimilation, oppression managed to create personalities and to create a society that's not anymore itself, and that was created to be an assimilated and oppressed society.
İşte Kürdistan özgürlük mücadelesi öncelikle kim olduğumuz sorusuyla, yani o sorgulamayı başlattı. Biz kimiz? Ne istiyoruz? Köklerimizle bağımız nedir? Sömürgeciliğin bizde yarattığı kişilik nedir? Bunların sorgulanmasıyla bir devrim sürecine başlandı. Bunların sorgulanmasıyla kim olduğumuza dair cevaplar oluşturulmaya başlandı.
So the revolution of Rojava started at this question: who are we? What is our roots? What gives us strength? Who are we? And what is the roots of our society? With these questions, we moved on and we created the revolutionary, we could fight the revolutionary battles that we were fighting in Kurdistan ever since.
Şimdi burada gaz şirketlerinden bahsediyoruz ama gaz şirketleri tek başına değildir. Gaz şirketlerin dayandığı bir sistem var. Kapitalist sistem bir örgütlemedir, bir sistemdir. Şimdi bizim açımızdan da ele aldığımızda aslında kendi tarihi köklerimize yol aldık. Ve gördük ki aslında tarihin başlangıcında insanlar arasında hiç de öyle bir sömürgeci sistem yok. İnsanların bir arada yaşayabildiği bir sistem var. Sömürgenin olmadığı, insanların kendini kimlikleriyle, varlığıyla değerli hissettiği bir sistem var.
When we talk about the gas companies, we can't just talk about them alone. They are supported by a system, by the capitalist system. When we did our research and we looked at the roots of society, we understood and we learned that there were times in which society lived without such systems of oppression, when society had methods to live together democratically.
50 yıllık mücadelenin sonucunda konfederalist sistem öyle bir şey oluşturdu ki işte şu an Rojava'da Kürtler, Araplar, Ezidiler, Çerkezler, Sünnisi, Alevisi, yani inanç olarak da farklı inançların bir arada yaşadığı, yine kadınların, gençlerin özgün örgütlemelerini oluşturduğu bir sistem var. İktidarın aşılmaya çalışıldığı, insanın insana hükmetmeye çalıştığı sistemlerin aşılmaya çalıştığı bir sistemi ifade ediyor konfederal sistem.
And the democratic confederalist system that was built in Rojava connects to this vision. And it's a system where people live together of different cultures, of different beliefs, of different genders, live together democratically, and a system which questions and breaks up power and hierarchy.
Bu alanda tekeller yok, şirketler yok. Halkın kendisinin oluşturduğu komünal örgütlenmeler var. Bunu yarın ekonomi atölyesinde biraz daha detaylı konuşacağız. Yani halk kendisinden şirketlerin çaldığı gücü yeniden kazanarak kendi gücünü bu alanlarda oluşturmuş durumda.
By the way, there are no companies. The people organize themselves in collectives way, and they organize in this way the economy. This is what I'm going to talk about also in tomorrow's workshop. So the power that was stolen of the people organized to take it back and reorganize their lives accordingly.
Şu an Kürdistan'da aslında 4 ulus devlete karşı bir mücadele veriliyor, bir savaş veriliyor. Aynı zamanda DAEŞ gibi radikal dinci bir örgüt ve diğer paramiliter güçlere karşı savaş veriliyor. Eğer ki sömürgeci konumda olan bir halk bu gücü elde etmişse, bu şunu gösteriyor: halkın tekrar kendi gücüyle buluşmasının yarattığı bir sonuçtur. Bu bir devlet değildir. Bu herhangi bir tekelin şirketten kaynaklanan bir gücü değildir. Halkın komünel örgütlenmeden aldığı güçle halk bu saldırılar karşısında durabiliyor. Bu saldırılar karşısında kendi sistemini inşa edebiliyor.
Now the Kurdish people are facing wars from all four countries. Not only from the countries and their states and their armies, but also from the mercenaries of Islamists and other religious fundamentalists in the region. So what this shows to us is that if a people that has faced that much oppression over the past centuries has the power to stand up against all of these enemies, it is because the people have met their original roots of power. It has not been any company, it has not been any state which gave them this power. It has been the people getting back to the roots of their power, empowering and taking the power that was stolen from them.
Bunun en önemli etkeni öz savunmadır. Öz savunması olmayan hiçbir varlık kendine yönelik saldırılar karşısında yaşamını sürdüremez, kendi haklarını, kendi varlığını koruyamaz. Öz savunmayı şu espriyle gerçekleşir. Yani Rojava deneyiminde şu espriyle Öz savunma Rojava'da varlığa yönelik saldırılar karşısında kendini savunma eksenindedir. Yani kendi varlığına yönelik tehlikeleri ortadan kaldırmaya dönük bir öz savunma perspektifi var. Anlaşıldı mı? Perspektif. Perspektif İngiliz. Yok perspektif değil bu espriyi anlamadım. Perspektif de aynı şey.
So one of the most important pillars of our like organizing and power is the organizing for our self-defense. The self-defense that creates the power to exist, although in the middle of all of the risks. And from my side, I'm sorry, there is a joke that people tell in Rojava that I didn't understand, but we will have time to get into detail with Heval Elif for that one. Ben bu espriyi anlamadım.
Tamam. Yani demek istediğim öz savunma kendine yönelik saldırılar karşısında varlığını korumaya dönüktür. Gidip bir başkasının hakkını ihlal etmeye dönük değil. Savunmanın temel bu, temel ana ekseninde bu var.
So, it wasn't a joke, it was the essence. The essence of self-defense is to stand up for yourselves, to know yourself. You can't call up for someone else to defend you. You need to know who you are and what you stand for in order to also defend yourselves.
Yani öz savunma bizde yaşamla eşdeğerdir. Yaşamın korunması öz savunmayla mümkündür.
And self-defense is for us the same as life. To defend life means to be in self-defense.
Yine en temel maddelerden biri, yarınki atölyede biraz daha geniş konuşuruz bunu, ekolojidir. Yani bu ekonominin örgütlendirilmesinden tutalım, nüfusa kadar, demografyaya kadar bu temel üzerinden örgütlendirilir. Ekoloji aslında içinde yaşadığımız dünyayla bizim aramızda ki dengeyi ifade ediyor. Yani bizim yaşadığımız evdir, yaşadığımız ortamdır. Bu ortamda sağlıklı bir bağ kurulduğunda ancak demokratik bir topluluktan, demokratik bir yaşamdan, özgür bir yaşamdan bahsedebiliriz.
And the essence of life is the ecology. Now, ecology often is understood as something in numbers, but we understand ecology as the life surrounding us, as the place where we live. And only if we understand the place in which we live and also defend this place, we can say that we are living in democratic societies.
Şirketlerin olduğu yerde yaşam tehdit altındadır, doğamız da tehdit altındadır. Ekolojik krizlerin kaynağında bu vardır. Bu yüzden şirketlerin olmadığı, toplumun komünal eksende kendini örgütlediği bir sistem öngörülüyor.
Wherever there are companies, there is a threat to life and there is a threat to ecological systems. This is why we foresee organizing in democratic societies in places where there are no companies, where we organize ourselves economically and ecologically.
Tabii her şeyden önce kadın özgürlükçüdür. Neden kadın özgürlükçüdür? Çünkü en eski sömürge, ilk köle kadındır. Kadının özgürleşmesiyle başlayan bir toplumsal sistemde toplum ancak özgürleşebilir. Bu perspektifle, bu yaklaşımla mücadele yürütüyor ve kadın devriminin Rojava'da gelişmesi de bu perspektifin sonucudur.
We see the oppression of women as the root, as the oldest, and as the most essential oppression of human systems. This is why any society that aims to live freely needs to embrace the freedom of women. And this is why also the revolution in Rojava was possible, because the movement took as an essence the liberation of women, the women's liberation movement, as an essence for the liberation of the whole society. The outcome of what you could see in also the struggles of women in Rojava.
Yani şirketlerin yaşamımızı bu kadar talan etmesinin önünü engellemenin en önemli yolu her alandaki sömürgeciliği ortadan kaldırmakla mümkündür. Kadının, ataerkil sistemin kadın üzerinde, zenginin varlığın fakir üstünde, egemen halkların ezilen halklar üzerinde, insanın doğa üzerindeki sömürüye son verdiğimiz oranda biz bu şirketleri etkisizleştirebiliriz. Bu şirketin yaşamımızdaki yarattığı tahribatların önünü alabiliriz.
We see that you can combat oppression always at its hardest oppressed place. So patriarchy through women liberation, the economic oppression through class struggle and the struggle against of poor people. Like to look at the places where oppression hits hardest in order to find there the methods to liberate the whole of society. That's how we approach the struggles.
Rojava devrimi demokratik konfederalizme, sosyalizme yeni bir açılım yapıyor, yeni bir soluk veriyor, yeni bir tanımlama getiriyor. O başarılar diliyorum herkese. Son sözümü böyle söyleyeyim.
The revolution in Rojava and the perspectives it built re-evaluate a lot of our known socialist, anti-capitalist, ecologist, and feminist struggles. So I want to close with these words and open up this perspective to share also in the next days that we offer a new perspective on all of those struggles.
Herkese teşekkür ediyorum dinledikleri için. Thank you for listening me.
Thank you so much. That was a really great, thank you for talking. You can hear more about the perspective that Jineolojî is bringing, especially on ecology, on Saturday at 11:30. They will have a panel on that. And also they will be joining the Jin-Jian Azadi Feminist Struggles in Iran, Kurdistan and Afghanistan panel, which will be at Saturday at 6 p.m. with a few more people. Yes, so we will go over to the next person, which is Joe Davis from Don't Pay UK.
Hello. Okay, is this working? Yeah, okay, great. Nice. Hello there. So I'm Joe from London, Don't Pay UK. As every good British idea begins, Don't Pay UK started with a group of friends in a pub. That was serious. We got together as a grassroots campaign because we noticed that after April 2021, when a price cap was set initially, that energy prices started to increase. Now, personally, I saw over £1,000 worth of savings go down the drain towards heating bills and a cost of living crisis that I'm sure that we're all feeling at the moment. We found that this wasn't fair, and it disproportionately affected those who are most vulnerable in society, including the elderly, people with disabilities, including neurodivergence, and also single-parent households. So, we got together as a group to try and get as many people as we can to do a mass non-payment campaign. Now, this is not something that doesn't have history in Britain, and certainly is not something that doesn't have history in other countries around the world as well. In Britain, in the 1980s, there was a rather lovely woman named Margaret Thatcher who decided that the best thing to do for our country and the union itself was to sell off all of the energy companies to private ownership. And over the decades afterwards, it only meant that prices increased, even though competition was supposed to keep them low. A classic capitalist lie. So, we took some of the lessons from what were called the poll tax riots in the UK, where 4 million people agreed to not pay a tax that was equal across all peoples, which sounds like a good idea, until you realize that it affected the rich and the poor equally. Equal does not always mean good. Sometimes you actually want egalitarianism. We managed to get, so far, 260,000 people to sign up to voluntarily cancel their direct debits. Now, direct debits, for those who don't know, is one of the best ways for companies to keep that revenue flowing, because it means they have a guaranteed source of income every single month. 1 million people paying £100 a month is 100 million that they can tell future investors that they are guaranteed to get every single month. Instead, we asked people to stop paying altogether so that we could try and meet our 3 main goals. Number 1, to reverse the price cap back to the April 2021 levels. Now, this energy price cap is not necessarily a price cap on how much you're going to spend for a year. It's how much you will spend on a kilowatt hour itself, which, not particularly expensive, but considering that people have entire homes to heat, well, that racks up. The second was to make sure that prepayment meters were no longer being installed. Now, I'm not sure if this is something that Austria has. I'm not sure if it's something that other countries have. But in the UK, if you are really down on your luck when it comes to energy bills, you will be fitted with a prepayment meter. I've had one of these myself in the past when I was a student and hanging on every bit of money that I could get from the government. And it involves you putting a card or a USB-style stick into a box with some money on it, and if that money runs out in the middle of a shower on a Sunday, you don't have hot water. It can get worse, because if you run out of the emergency credit on that prepayment meter, you don't just lack electricity, but you will lack power to your entire home. If you are trying to cook food for your children, they will have to eat something cold. If you are trying to heat a relative that is staying with you because they are unable to get the care responsibilities they need through lack of funds, you will have to invest in blankets that you can't afford or a space heater that will waste even more money that you do not have. It is also the most expensive way to pay for energy in the UK. It costs more money for someone on a prepayment meter to heat noodles than it will for someone with millions and millions of pounds worth of assets to heat their private swimming pool. The third and final point that we were trying to make sure happened was that nobody should be forced to choose between heating and eating, a phrase that we never thought This is a phrase we never thought we'd have to hear in one of the so-called most developed nations in the world. But unfortunately, people have had to choose between heating and eating. Increasingly, in food banks up and down the country and in the entire union, we are seeing people having to get food that you do not have to cook simply because they don't have access to heat even for that. Let's make one thing abundantly clear. This is because of energy company war profiteering. Ukraine has been a humanitarian crisis. Of course it has. And these companies have taken that humanitarian crisis and also taken capitalism to its natural conclusion, which is to use something as abhorrent as the invasion of Ukraine to increase their profit. They will line their pockets with your money because they can. This is the same thing we see with things like shrinkflation, where objects get smaller for the same price so that they can make sure that their dividends are paid to shareholders and that they don't have to go back to their investors to ask for more money than they already have. This is simply not fair. It has worked in the past to not pay. The woman that I mentioned beforehand, Margaret Thatcher, she was ousted because of the poll tax riots. And another female prime minister just happened to be ousted not so recently. Now, because of, in no small part, I can't take full credit, in no small part to the Don't Pay UK campaign, which was described as an existential threat to the energy industry in the UK by E.ON, the largest gas and electric company in the UK, and indeed one of the largest in Europe. Because of this, our Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, was forced to U-turn, as well as Liz Truss, and Liz Truss did lose in a race against the lettuce, which we were all watching with great joy. So, where do we go from here? Spring is sprung, which does mean that trying to mobilize people on feeling cold gets a little bit more tricky. However, some of you may not know that energy companies, they stock up on money during the winter because you have to pay more by definition. That money is credit in your account. That money is credit in everyone in the UK's accounts. And that money can be taken back legally, fairly, and is absolutely your right to do so. The newest movement from the Don't Pay UK campaign is to try and claim back that credit to further force these companies to go to the government again and again to ask for help. That's not to say that this campaign hasn't been fraught with difficulties. We know that during, just before the new year, 30,000 prepayment meters were manufactured and in storage by multiple different companies in order to put them in whenever they felt like it. It took 3 minutes of a court's time to decide to give 400 vulnerable individuals prepayment meters. It was not decided one at a time. It was not decided person to person. It was not decided situation to situation. It was decided in a block because they want that cash. We knew that in December of last year, the 250,000 of us that had joined the campaign were also joined, not voluntarily, by 3 million people behind on their bills. They could not pay. It is not a case of I don't want to pay for these people. It is a case of I have no option not to. And they are being punished for it. This is simply not right. There are movements across the globe for mass non-payment, as there have been for many years, and there are movements across the globe to take back that control. So finally, I say to you, the power is in your hands. Whether it is electricity, gas, or your own freedom, power to the people have the power.
Thank you. I heard that Don't Pay UK is also planning a conference, which is in April from the 21st to the 24th. And if you're interested in that, they are planning it together with Extinction Rebellion. You can check out the website, which is don'tpay.uk. And now we have another person who will share their experience, which is Hedy from Plattform Sichtbar Werden. I will pass on the mic.
Ja, irgendwer musst du da, ja. Okay.
Test. Okay.
Geht's?
Geht los.
Mein Name ist Jineolî-Komitee und ich war obdachlos. In den letzten Jahren bin ich als Obdachlosenaktivistin ehrenamtlich unterwegs. Ich erzähle Ihnen heute über eine Welt, wo ich Ihnen allen hier wünsche, sie nie selbst erleben zu müssen.
My name is Hedy. I was homeless and I have been a homeless activist for a few years, and today I will tell you about a world where I hope that you will never have to live it yourself.
Obdachlose, meist mit ihren Habseligkeiten, meist bettelnd, schwer alkoholisiert, sitzen auf den Straßen herum. Eine verwirrt wirkende ältere Frau führt einen vollgestopften Einkaufswagen mit sich. In den Bahnhöfen besetzen sie Plätze in der Wartehalle.
Homeless people, usually with all their belongings, are out on the streets. Oftentimes they have been drinking and they seem a bit disorganized and disoriented. And at the train stations, they use up the spaces where we want to sit.
Wissend, dass kein Zug ihr Leben in irgendeiner Form verbessern könnte. Sie sitzen dort, sie warten und warten und warten. Securities verweisen Obdachlose. Sie bekommen Hausverbot, wegen ihren Aggressionen durch den Alkohol aufgeschaukelt werden. Ansonsten sind sie stumm.
They're sitting there, but they're not waiting for a train that could take them to another life. Securities come by and tell them to leave. They tell them to never come back because they might be aggressive, because they have been drinking. Apart from that, they are silent.
Nachts sieht man sie in Hauseingängen, in ihren Schlafsäcken umgeben, in ihren schlafend, mit ihren spärlichen Habseligkeiten. Ihre Füße, unsichtbar, unter verschlissenen Hosen, sind oftmals von Wunden übersät. Mangelnde Körperpflege, diverse unbehandelte Krankheiten, schlechte Ernährung, zu wenig gesunden Schlaf. Schließlich eine Infektion. Das Immunsystem versagt, der Tod zeigt sich an den Füßen.
At night, you'll see them in doorways, sleeping. Their legs in trousers that often have holes in them, often have wounds. They cannot get proper hygiene, they cannot get treatment for illnesses they might already have, they cannot get proper nutrition. Oftentimes the wounds get infected and then death will follow.
Sie sterben ungefähr in einem Alter zwischen 40 und 55 Jahren. Wenn Sie obdachlose Menschen in diesem Zustand einmal ins Gesicht sehen, dann wissen Sie, was Resignation ist. Manche Mitmenschen empfinden Mitleid, andere übersehen sie in ihrer Hektik, viele wenden sich mit kurzem, angewiderten Blick weg. Sie stören das Bild einer modernen, urbanen Lifestyle-Gesellschaft. Touristen sollen gefälligst sich dem Kaiserin Sissi-Flair widmen und dabei sich noch kräftig zur Kasse bitten lassen. Schließlich braucht der Staat und die Städte für ihre Prestigeobjekte ausreichende Finanzierungsmittel.
They usually die between the ages of 40 and 55. When you look into a homeless person's eye when they're at that age, you see what resignation looks like. People, when they look at them, usually look at them with pity. Sometimes they don't even see them, and sometimes it's just outright disgust. Homeless people distract from the image of the urban and modern city that the city wants to portray. Tourists should rather look at Sissi and go to Schönbrunn and have all the fancy things and not have to look at homeless people.
Selbst wenn obdachlose Menschen sich aus dem sichtbaren öffentlichen in den unsichtbaren öffentlichen Raum zurückziehen, zum Beispiel nachts in versteckten Gebüschen von Parkanlagen oder auf der Donauinsel sich noch dazu erdreisten, ein kleines Zelt aufstellen zu können, verstoßen sie gegen das Campierverbot. Erlassen 2012. Sie, die nichts haben, bekommen eine Verwaltungsstrafe, bei Nichtbezahlung droht Gefängnis. Und ihre wenigen Habseligkeiten werden noch dazu von der städtischen Müllabfuhr entfernt, oftmals auch mit ihren Dokumenten. Dokumente bedeuten Existenz. Ohne Dokumente ist man nichts.
When they go from the seen to the unseen public spaces, like when they try to sleep in some bushes or maybe dare to put up a small tent on the Donauinsel, on an island in the Danube, they get fined because that's against the camping law, which was made up 2012. If they cannot pay their fine, they will go to prison. All their stuff is usually taken away by the garbage people, who will also take their documents. And without documents, they are nothing. Documents are life.
Observation seitens der Behörden, zumeist durch die Polizei, heißt der Willkür ausgeliefert sein. Hat man Pech, insbesondere als Ausländer, Ausländerin oder als in Österreich geborener Nichtstaatsbürger, Bürgerin, deren oder dessen Eltern aus einem Drittstaat kommen und keinen ordentlichen Aufenthalt inklusive eines bestimmten Einkommens nachweisen können, lernen schnell die Fremdenpolizei und die Schubhaft kennen.
They are constantly watched by police, and if they are out of luck, and especially if they're maybe not from Austria or don't have a lot of money, they will soon get to know the foreign police and might be deported.
Selbst EU-Bürgerinnen sind davon betroffen. Sie dürfen zwar laut EU-Recht wieder einreisen, aber Sprachbarrieren, mangelnde Berufsqualifikationen hindern sie an einer Integration und so beginnt dieses Teufelsspiel von vorne. Die Folge dieser Kette der Aussichtslosigkeit ist die Flucht in die Verdrängung. Ihr Mittel, der Alkohol und/oder Drogen. Manche von ihnen werden schlichtweg verrückt. Ich bezeichne ihr Abgleiten als Anderswelt, denn unsere Welt will sie nicht mehr.
Even if they are EU civilians and they have the right to come back, the language barriers will usually keep them from being able to integrate themselves into society at all. and the circle starts anew. So oftentimes they turn to alcohol or drugs, and some of them just go crazy. I call their world the other world because our world doesn't want them anymore.
Ladendiebstähle, Dealen, Prostitution, illegale Gelegenheitsjobs, kleine nicht gesetzeskonforme Geschäfte. Früher oder später trifft es einen großen Teil der Obdachlosen. Sie werden kriminell. Wenn obdachlose Menschen schließlich im Gefängnis landen, falls sie nicht abgeschoben werden, empfinden manche von ihnen trotz der Härte einer Justizstrafanstalt und den Freiheitsverlust, dort zu sein, angenehmer als draußen. Wortwörtliches Zitat: Da ist es sauber, regelmäßige Mahlzeiten kriege ich auch und vor allem, ich habe endlich eine Struktur in meinem Leben.
So they often turn to petty crimes, they turn to dealing, to prostitution, to stealing, and etc. And then if they are not deported, they will often be sent to prison, which oftentimes feels nicer to them than being on the streets. I quote from someone I know who said, "At least in here it's clean, I get regular food, and for once in my life I have a structure."
Wieder draußen schaffen es viele trotz Hilfsangebote nicht. Warum? Weil sich ihre Rahmenbedingungen nicht verbessert haben. Sie ihr Milieu nicht wechseln können, kaum Arbeit finden und wenn, dann schlecht bezahlte bei Leihfirmen, wo sie dann für 6 Monate einen geförderten Arbeitsplatz haben, der nach der Ablauf der Frist nicht verlängert wird. Auf und ab, wie auf einer Hochschaumbahn. Man bewegt sich, aber es verändert sich nichts. Man ist dabei einsam, sehr einsam.
When they're back on the outside, when they're back outside of prison, oftentimes they don't make it, even though there might be people who offer them help. But there's no real change. Usually when they get offered a job, it's a bad job that only works for 6 months, and then afterwards they are out of a job again, and they can also not really go somewhere else, meet some new people. So like this, it just goes up and down like a seesaw, and there's no real change.
An das Arbeitsmarktservice mit einer Mindestsicherung gekoppelt bedeutet, dass die Beschäftigte nicht den vollen zuständigen Lohn erhält, sondern nur den Betrag der Mindestsicherung. Ausbeutung unter staatlicher Aufsicht. Als junger Mensch, obdachloser Mensch, hat man noch eher eine Chance, eine qualifiziertere Berufsausbildung zu bekommen. Als älterer Mensch ab 45 wird es problematischer. Dort wird nichts mehr in einen arbeitslosen Obdachlosen investiert. Eventuell mit viel Glück einen Heimhilfekurs, ansonsten werden den Älteren zumeist an Reinigungsfirmen vermittelt. Fragen Sie mich nicht warum, ich weiß es nicht. Oder die Gastronomie, ein Knochenjob, den schon Jüngere nicht dauerhaft gewachsen sind. Verweigert man, wird man mittels Wegfall der Mindestsicherung sanktioniert. Erfahrungswissen, berufliche Kenntnisse ohne Zertifikat oder eventuell Begabungen, autodidaktes Lernen, uninteressant. Da holen wir uns lieber qualifiziertes Personal aus ärmeren Ländern, die dort dann fehlen und die wir später eventuell wieder leichter abschieben können.
One moment. Okay. If they're with the AMS, the job service in Austria, they will only get paid minimum security payments. They are exploited by the state. If homeless people are still young, they might be able to get a qualified or a qualifying class to learn something actually. But when you're over 45, no money will be invested in you if you're homeless. They might get you a job in caring for sick people, they might get you a job in cleaning, or working as a server in a restaurant, which is back-breaking labor. which also means that then you don't get any more money. And if you don't want to do any of these shitty jobs, the AMS, the Arbeitsmarktservice, will not give you any more money. No one wants to invest in older homeless people, so usually people who want to hire someone will just hire someone qualified from another country who they can pay less money to and who they can deport as soon as they're done with them.
Das ist Armutsverwaltung als Konzept. Neokolonialisierung nach dem Bedarfsprinzip. Schamgefühl kennen diese irrwitzigen Wirtschafts-, Finanz- und politischen Entscheidungsträger keine. Schämen sollen sich die Beschämten. Schließlich sind sie selber schuld an ihrer Situation. Im Zeitalter der Individualisierung. Eine Kultur des Versagens ist unerwünscht, wäre es doch ein Eingeständnis der eigenen Unzulänglichkeit.
Politicians who are responsible for this know no shame, and they think that those should feel ashamed who are already shamed by their position in society. In an industrial world, not succeeding is directly offensive to the system, and they just don't want to see that. Failing is not welcome.
Obdachlose Menschen übernachten insbesondere in der Winterzeit in Notquartieren, in Zimmern mit mehreren Stockbetten, Konfliktpotenzial vorgeprogrammiert. Die Hygiene ist oft katastrophal. Hier kann man zweifelsohne unseren gesellschaftlichen Umgang in komprimierter Form beobachten. Obdachlose brauchen jeder für sich einen Raum, und wenn auch nur einen sehr kleinen Raum. Ruhe, einmal Ruhe, für einen Obdachlosen permanent im öffentlichen Raum stehend, das Paradies.
Homeless people often sleep in so-called Notquartiere, which is a place where you get a room, or not a room, but a bed for the night. There's usually bad hygiene, and then there's several people crammed into one room. Each homeless person needs a room to themselves for the night, a room with some silence, which they never get because they're out on the street all day. Some silence and some calm for the night, that would be paradise.
Im Winter gibt es Wärmestuben, im Sommer Klimaoasen, Ausspeisungsstellen und Tageszentren. Verhungern in Wien kann man garantiert nicht. Sehr schwer krank werden schon. Ich meine den Industriemüll aus Auftriebsmitteln, übermäßigem Zucker und zu viel Salz. Obdachlose Menschen sind Nachhaltigkeitskünstler. Sie essen das, was normalerweise weggeworfen wird. Was normalerweise in der Größe einer Stadt wie Graz nach wie vor in Wien verbrannt wird. Die Frauen. In der Obdachlosigkeit sind sie unsichtbarer. Man findet sie in Gewaltbeziehungen, als Couchsurferinnen, in der Prostitution. Bei Männern sieht man eher darüber hinweg, aber eine Frau hat nett, adrett, sauber zu sein. Klischeevorstellungen. Stets eines sexuellen Übergriffes ausgesetzt, sind sie potenzielle Opfer für Sexualmorde. Ist besser.
Women, homeless women, are often unseen. They might be in a violent relationship, they might be couch surfers, they might be sex workers. Women do not get the right to be homeless. They always need to be pretty, they always need to seem like they got their shit together, like they're clean, which makes them potential victims for violent relationships and for murders.
2018 wurde eine Frau, weil sie sich prostituieren musste, brutalst von einem Sexualtäter hier in Österreich getötet, zerstückelt und in den Neusiedler See in Müllsäcken wie Abfall entsorgt. Warum ist das so? Im Übrigen, sie war 30 Jahre alt. Ich denke mir, reiche Menschen brauchen arme Menschen und diese werden untereinander ausgespielt, um in Ruhe ihren Geschäften der Umweltzerstörung nachgehen zu können. Darum brauchen wir sie, die Armen, die Unterdrückten.
In 2018, a woman who was forced to do sex work because she was homeless and didn't have any money was killed, hacked to pieces, and thrown into a nearby lake in a bunch of garbage bags. Why does this happen? I think that the rich need the poor, and they need the poor to make them fight each other, so they, the rich, can do their business in peace.
Jede dritte Person in Wien starb 2022 den Hitzetod. Was die Klimaerwärmung betrifft, braucht man nicht viel Fantasie. Es gibt 27 Möglichkeiten, den Hitzetod zu sterben. Die Gefahr, dass es die obdachlosen Menschen trifft, ist am größten.
Each third person who died. Wann?
Jede dritte Person im 2022.
Each third person in Vienna who died in 2022 died of heat death. Died of death related to heat. There are 27 different ways of dying because of heat, and the chances that it's going to be a homeless person are very, very high.
Und jetzt persönliche Worte. Ich bin im Winter meines Lebens angekommen. Ich bin die Vergangenheit. Sie hier in der Gegenwart, die Zukunft. Ich möchte Sie um eines bitten. Und es ist mir einer der größten Anliegen meines Lebens. Ich habe mich mein Leben lang engagiert. Wenn die Gesellschaft auseinanderdividiert ist, wenn sie in Gruppen eingeteilt wird, diese gegeneinander ausgespielt werden, wenn die Umweltzerstörung, die Profitgier weiterhin so anhält, dann gehen wir in eine Situation, wo ich fürchte, dass die Demokratie verloren geht. Armut frisst Demokratie. Passen Sie mir bitte auf unsere Demokratie auf. Und bitte passen Sie mir und achten Sie auf die Biodiversität. Ohne beiden sind wir alle nichts. Danke.
One moment, please. So the English speakers can also hear it. Guys. Okay, I think some people only speak English. All right, so I have one more personal message for you. I am already a bit older. I am the past. You who are here today, you are the present and you are the future. And I have something that I want from you. Please. I always organized politically all my life. And now I fear for our democracy. Now that groups in society are made to fight each other for profits, I fear that our democracy will not make it, because poverty feeds democracy. Please take care of our democracy, and please take care of biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you're excited for the weekend. This was just a short beginning of a lot to come. Yes, just 2 more organizational points from me, and then we will hear from Max again. Dinner should be ready soon, or is ready right now. Depends on how it's working. And there will be a concert after dinner. It's a choir concert, so we would really like to see you all again. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it was really amazing, and I think a great beginning for the coming days. Yeah, I just want to say a couple of more thanks, especially to the helping hands that are now have provided the space and organized everything, but also big thanks to the interpreters and the whole interpretation team. Yeah, it was amazing. Thanks, Niki, Ron, Mena, and especially also Anna for like interpreting today. They are also looking for more people, maybe some support for the coming days. Whoever feels comfortable to interpret from German to English or English to German, you're very welcome to join. And also, also our kitchen collective, the Küfer crew, is also looking for some more support because we want to provide food for everyone during the next days. And it would be great if you can join them. Come to the info point. There we have different shifts for the helping hands. So big thanks to the crew that will provide food. It will be ready in it will arrive in like 20 minutes. So you still got some time to rest, get some fresh air, and then there will be food to get ready for the concert later. So I would say we are almost done with the Polylogue for tonight. Thanks so much to all the speakers. And I would say let's make some noise. I don't know, I thought, Lorraine, because your chant was so nice, do you maybe want to repeat it again and we make some noise for everyone?
Okay, I hope you still remember. You say Awe too. Amandla! Amandla! Thank you.